Hello. Today on my vlog, I'm gonna address what Karina posted yesterday because it's a really important issue. As last semester, we often all talked about topics like this in our flat in Bloomsbury, just like the Bloomsbury group, and we drink hot cocoa and called ourselves the New Wave Bloomsbury group because Virginia Woolf and John Maynard Keynes all also drink hot cocoa in Bloomsbury and talk about issues. Before I talk about that though, I'm gonna address Adira's video and her call for exercise music suggestions. And my personal favorite is Duran Duran from the album Red Carpet Massacre because it really pumps you up. It's really good exercise music. I don't even listen to Duran Duran that often, but when I do, I'm usually running or something. I'm gonna play a few seconds.
These are days of hit and run in the stream with everyone.
Good stuff, right? The hot topic issue for this week is misogyny. Karina was talking about the shooter and how it provoked a discussion of misogyny. For me, the shooter provoked thoughts about misogyny in my everyday life and how that kind of permeated my ideas about social norms. And I thought a lot about guys in my life and the things that they say, and whether these things cross the line to misogyny or are just like kind of things people say about people in general, whether true or mature or not. For example, I have guy friends who will make generalizations about women they're trying to date and say things about how all girls are kind of dumb or untrustworthy. And to me, when I hear things like that, it feels problematic, specifically because I'm also a woman. But I wonder if it's really any different than when girls get together and talk about how men are dogs. I don't think that either gender is correct or mature in doing these things, but is it misogynistic to say things like that about women? You have comments like, all girls are dumb, so you should just date the prettiest one. Take it in jest, it's kind of funny, but say that comment had some truth behind it, I think something like that would cross the line to misogyny a little bit. As you guys know, I've been interning for the Southeast Review, and one of my responsibilities is managing the Twitter feed. So I've spent a lot of time on Twitter lately, and there's a movement on Twitter right now inspired by the shooter called #YesAllWoman, and it's girls posting stories about sexual harassment or thoughts about misogyny that they kind of want to share, anything having to do with that topic. And I consider myself pretty feminist, but a lot of women have thoughts that really never occurred to me before. One in particular was a comment about how when a guy is hitting on you, they won't respect it if you're just not interested, but if you say, I have a boyfriend, and they're like, oh, okay, and leave me alone. And they do that because they're actually respecting your boyfriend who they never met. more than the woman who is sitting in front of you right now. And it's like so common, you don't even think about it because it just seems natural, because that's what society is like. And it's kind of sad that things like this, we don't even think about it, but it's part of the misogyny that permeates our culture. And that made me think of a lot of times in my life, even back when I was a kid and I was the only girl on a soccer team, and when I got made fun of, they wouldn't leave me alone unless my guy friends stepped in to help, because again, they respected men more. Catcalls is another example of everyday misogyny. That's something that men specifically do that women don't do very often, if at all, and sort of is objectifying and sexualizing a woman on the street. All women have had the experience of being yelled at from a car as they walk down the sidewalk. And when I thought about how I wanted to contribute to the Yes All Women hashtag, I realized that the other day when I was walking down the sidewalk, someone yelled out, "You're very good looking." And it was actually like the first thought that crossed my mind was, that's kind of sweet, because honestly that's probably the most respectful catcall I've ever gotten, because a lot of men are really sexual in the way they talk to you, or are really just not polite. I mean, that was kind of polite as far as catcalls go. It's kind of sad. Sorry about the changing quality. I was using my normal camera, but it ran out of battery, so we're back to photo booth. There's this guy that I dated who claimed to be feminist and turned out to be kind of manipulative and a liar, as opposed to I had a lot of guy friends who say problematic things sometimes, but at least they're honest and they pride themselves on being respectful to their girlfriends. And I feel like I want to give them a break and not give them too hard time about specificities and political correctness, because I know that they're trying and that they're willing to consider what I say if I feel they're doing something that's not being respectful. And that is what really counts, I think, as opposed to calling yourself a feminist or even being politically correct. And you should call yourself a feminist, and you should try for not offending people and like being aware of the issues, but I feel like what really counts is that you're respectful of women, and when you're called out for things that you might not necessarily be aware that could be a problematic way of thinking, you're willing to consider that. I have to confess something. I lied. This is just water. Let's face it, it's too hot for hot chocolate. It's a symbolism that counts.